Oh,
Got it.
what?
I don't know who that is.
All right. 7-11. I guess I'll just take notes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. All right. We don't have enough for a quorum tonight. And there's no comment from the public, so we can't approve the minutes. So we'll just go right into staff reports.
So our staff report tonight's a little bit lighter because we only had 3 weeks in between meetings since September. But just a couple of highlights of where we've been at. We had our September concert in the park at the end of September, about 100 participants. We also had our makeup concert from May. We rescheduled for October 4th. We had about 150 people at that concert. Our Creepy Crawlers and Candy Hunt event that we had on 10/3 over at Briansville Park. I want to just note on this one, by me, I mean Emily, has done a fantastic job working with the Wildlands Conservancy to do monthly environmental education kind of programs. And we've moved them around a little bit. Most are at Lone Lane. This one happened to be over at Briansville and tied in a theme of a mini candy hunt with the Creepy Crawlers education presentation. We had 37 total participants, which maxed out our roster. But I want to note for this one that we had a 61-person wait list wanting to get into this program. So our switch to doing monthly programming with the Wildlands instead of quarterly or once or twice has really taken off, and we're going to continue to work and revamp that programming, build our capacity, and see what more we can do, because we definitely see by these numbers that there is an interest in that programming. Barktoberfest, sunny, warm, and ready to rock and roll. Had about 500 people. A great event, greatly organized. Seems to be a tradition now coming through the township, so we thoroughly enjoy that event. Our Zumba class has expanded to 2 different days. Mondays at, don't quote me here, we are using 2 different elementary schools, one on Monday, one on Wednesday. That total number of 47 is the total registrants for the 2 classes. We continue our collaboration with MVP 360 Basketball Skills and Drills program. It's basketball and character development. Newer program, just started this past week on the 11th, and we have 10 participants currently enrolled. We are trying out a new yoga instructor, Sarah Shea Yoga, for our fall session. We currently have 19 participants in that yoga class currently. And like I said, it's a new instructor this session for us. As the weather has turned a little bit chilly, we have only a few events coming up in the next month between now and next meeting. Tomorrow night over at Grange Park, we have our trunk or treat event from 5:30 to 9 p.m. We have over 50 vendors as a part of the event. Jim and our public works team have done a fantastic job of recreating the trail element from Lone Lane Park over at Grange Park. And I think we have some exciting twists and turns that the residents and those who come to the event are going to enjoy.
How did they do it?
I'm going to leave that up for
wanna know.
surprises for people to see
I
it
wanna
and check it
know.
out. I'm not going to give it all away, but they've really put a lot of hard work into it, and it's going to be exciting for our residents. We did note last month that all 3 townships, North Whitehall, South Whitehall, and Upper Macungie, have their trunk or treat events on the same night this year. So we will definitely see what effect that may have on attendance. We'll also, we have great relationships with the other townships to see how their events go and collaborate ideas in the
Did
future.
you get enough candy this year?
We have a lot of candy.
I know
we
last year there wasn't quite enough.
Knock on wood, we have enough, but we have a lot of candy in stock and ready to have a great event tomorrow.
Some people, you'd be surprised how much candy they can eat.
Yep.
So you better have a lot.
And then next week we have our last concert in the park in our concert series, Rocktoberfest, on Saturday the 25th at Grange Park from 6 to 10 p.m. On Friday, November 14th, we have our Hootie Hoot hike at Lone Lane Park. That's another one of our Wildlands Conservancy programs. And then our fall session of Little Athletics, which is for 2 to 7-year-olds multi-sport classes starts on November 6th. Over here, just a couple quick metrics on our newsletter or e-news blast that continue to go out. We remain steady and increase our subscribers. Our open rates are holding steady, and we're getting a lot of good communication with our residents for our programming and our activities. And just a reminder, we need to get you guys over as the Park and Rec Board to the community center construction. It is moving very fast, and we are seeing a lot of changes even in a short period of time over the couple day span. I think I've been there every day this week, and there's definitely noticeable changes each day. So definitely want to find a way to get time to get you guys over as the board to really walk through the site, talk about the building, talk about the possibilities, and get your eyes on it.
Great.
That's all I got.
I have a question or a thought, actually. I thought, a question and a thought. The Grange, the trunk or treat.
Yep.
I think it'd be cool if somebody does a walkthrough video, maybe beforehand or after, so that we have like a cool video of the event. And the Wildlands, yeah, I didn't realize you had to sign up for that. Is it only geared towards families?
You can sign up either as an individual or a group, so it's open to everyone. Yep. So we have a lot of groups that sign up 3-4 together. There's a small fee for it to help offset the cost, but it's open to any and everyone.
Do they need any help with any of them?
They bring their own instructors based on our numbers and what they plan to bring out as far as animals and setup. So as far as teaching it, they don't need help, but come on out and check it out.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Moving along, old business, park rules and ordinance updates.
So we've been working pretty hard on the mobile food vending aspect of updating our park and rec rules ordinance. Obviously, I noted last time that this is probably the start of a couple updates. Michael had mentioned nailing down the mobile food vending aspect first before moving on to any other ones. But I took and incorporated into another version of a draft most of the comments from last month's meeting. You'll see them in green. Some of the yellow is just still general discussion, not fully flushed out. So I know we are having discussions about various aspects of what we want to do as the Park and Recreation Board, and with the advice and oversight of the Park and Rec Department, maybe going to smaller committee meetings to discuss these topics more in depth. But I wanted to continue the conversation tonight since we had started it with the mobile food vending, to get to a point that we're comfortable, and then we can move on with those ordinance potential updates between now and the end of the year to be able to present them and move them forward as needed.
What was the point of the small? I'm sorry, I'm horrible at this.
No, you're okay.
What was the point of the smaller committees?
So as the board and by the bylaws, you are able to establish topic-oriented or task force-oriented committees within the Park and Rec Board to further discuss topics. Obviously our monthly meeting is our public meetings, and there's ability to have those committees and have those discussions to flush out those various topics and bring them and present them to the public meetings to move them forward. So I think between what we've been doing with the ordinance, the feedback from the individual members of the board about their involvement in having an impact, and then obviously our comprehensive park rec open space plan, now is the time to pursue that committee concept to move these items forward.
Are you suggesting a smaller committee for the mobile food truck ordinance? Is that what you're saying? Or?
Oh no, just if we,
I definitely.
sorry.
cut it off. No, that was my fault.
sorry. At this point with it, we definitely had a lot of good feedback in September. We had multiple pages of notes about suggestions and updates and changes. A couple of items just to point out, I did update the numbering so we're a little more clear. added a couple of the definitions that the board had recommended. The one outstanding that I think is still just a general discussion, because this is an avenue that's not a one size fits all, is dimensions. I think there was some conversation about dimensions of the mobile unit or a mobile vendor. You know, when we did Grub and Groove at the Grange this year, you had vendors from contained into like a pop-up tent size to a barbecue place that might have a tow behind smoker at setup. So it's very hard to kind of limit the parameters of, let's say, dimensions. I think that's more of a discussion as someone's coming through the permitting process to get a better understanding of the size and scope of what they are in the approval process versus trying to spell it out with, you know, length and depth and things like that in the actual ordinance. We updated definitions for facility reservation, designated locations. A note from last time was giving more specifics to seasonal operation. I have a note in here just about stating having a defined start and end date, facility reservations being reservation specific. We had the ask to include reserving the right to refuse a permit for cause. I was making a specific note that just because you have a permit doesn't give you exclusivity. Some updates to the application process, complete an annual application. I added the note, the specific language of the additional items that the township requires wording wise in the additional insured section when we ask for copies of insurance. What I left out at this point was some of the more specific aspects about fee structures and things that the township would set a general fee structure, but as far as getting down into the nitty gritty size aspect, single event, multi-event, that would potentially be better suited for the application versus in here, rather than taking this from 4 pages to 12. I think that those items, that minutia part is in the actual application, similar to how we handle special events currently. I took out the specific names of park locations based on the feedback of the board and left it open to park locations of operation are subject to Upper Nacogdoches Township approval going through the approval process. Cleaned up the language, the redundant language in the mobile food vendors shall section, just to clarify that. And I left the red line part in. So the green is what was updated. The red was what the previous version was.
We got black and white copies.
Oh, I apologize.
I thought it was still-
Sorry about that. Under number 11, the first bullet point was the cleanup language of not being redundant and stating the licenses and permits, just making it a little cleaner.
Did you check with AI on it?
Portions. The ones I still have to insert that I did not get done yet are the references to noise and ordinance, making sure we're in line specifically for the amplified music and the power generators, using the exact wording from other ordinances for consistency. So I do have to insert those under item 12. The third hash mark down in item 12, the cleaning up the portion about if it's a pavilion rental versus someone who has a permit to be in a park, that the permit holder would operate within defined boundaries of a private rental area unless permitted by the township. Added in the causing damage to park property, including turf, pavement, buildings, fencing, or landscaping. That number 12 is saying mobile food vendors shall not do those things. Under enforcement, we still have the fine dollar amount was still highlighted for discussion, but also listed subject to change per township fee schedule. Added in a note about any financial costs for damages to township property. Pulled out the redundancy on revocation of permits for repeated offenses and combined that with the revocation of permits and expulsion of park property. And then later on in the enforcement section, softening the language per the board's recommendations, taking out the section in regards to arrest and more gearing towards citation and violations of potential fines or penalties. The last part I have to do is research the appeals process from the other ordinances in other townships that we looked at to make sure that's included.
I like the arrest part. That shows conviction.
So when do we think we'll have this done, and when do we think we'll have this implemented, estimated?
My goal would be to have a final version of this section done for you by next month, so we can have discussion on the other areas of the chapter 16 park and rec overall ordinance, because there are things I'd like to look at in terms of we have to strengthen some of our pavilion reservation enforcement, designated parking areas. I want to put our special event application process into this. There's a lot of things I think we can do, and rather than try to piecemeal it and continue to go back and make updates, because one of the areas that we would like to do as township staff is we don't have some of these rules and ordinance parameters listed anywhere physically at the park facility. So to make these updates, to turn around, to get ready for spring, summer 2026, to have signage up that enforces these ordinance provisions in our park facilities.
Do we need signage for every single law? Or does it just help the police?
It helps us to make sure it's on the books with the ordinance, and the signage could be more of a highlight key points with a reference to the ordinance. I'm not saying we would put 12 pages of language on a sign, but the key highlights, I think things like having permit holders, parking, the big ones that we see issues with being on that sign with a reference to the total ordinance number will help with the enforcement.
There might be some rule that if there isn't a sign posted, then it can't enforce it. I don't know. That'd be a question for the police department.
Well, we can't. They don't list every single rule that's illegal.
No, not
or-
listed,
No.
but like reference the ordinance that says, these are the rules of the park under this ordinance. Otherwise, penalty by law or something like
I mean, I
that.
know South Whitehall is big on signage or
I'm
putting
sorry,
rules.
what'd
I
you
know
say?
South Whitehall is big with
Yep.
putting rules on signage.
They just recently redid a park right outside our boundary, Vistas Park, and I actually took some pictures of their signage because there is pictures and verbiage and a reference to the ordinance. It's not their entire, but it's their highlights.
Right.
And that's something I've done in previous roles. We've had snippets with the reference to the overall chapter ordinance that helps with our enforcement.
Awesome. All right, so we're thinking it should be implemented by spring 2026.
That is my goal going through the process. I want to make sure we get it through the Park and Rec Board to then go through the proper motions to get it to the Board of Supervisors and get it on the books.
Awesome. All right, moving along. New business. The comprehensive park recreation open space plan recommendations discussion.
So what I have tonight for all the board members is Simone Collins did do a quick 2-page executive summary as part of the overall comprehensive park rec open space plan. And board members last month had recommended being able to have the 23 recommendations from the park rec open space plan and have a discussion about giving your feedback on prioritizing how to go about tackling those recommendations. So I wanted to bring it to you tonight so you have a copy of the executive summary, which lays out quick bullet points on the process that we went through. On the inside is a side-by-side breakdown of taking those recommendations and categorizing them into the 4 visions and the recommendations below each of those goals and visions. So that way you could see it in one quick shot. I won't go through all 23 and have Matthew type all 23 out in meeting notes. But just to reiterate, the 4 visions are accessible, safe, inviting park spaces, innovative recreational programming, abundance of quality open space to promote a healthy community and environment, and a premier park and open space system for generations to come. These are all areas that the board has expressed their interest and their passion in accomplishing. And now it's time to go to work and move this forward. This is not a plan to sit on a shelf. This is a plan for us to guide where we're going. A couple of things, just highlights real quick. Recommendation 1.1 is continue to work on implementing recommendations from the 2023 Upper Macungie Township Vision Zero Action Plan towards constructing improvements. That's something we've been looking at and are actively working towards. Improving access within parks, designing wayfinding signage, lighting, consulting with the Park and Rec Board on establishing designs. Some of these we're already trying to move forward towards. So I think now is the perfect time, as we've discussed, to work with a smaller committee set up and have these in-depth discussions to move this plan forward.
I have a question about that, kind of. Because it reminded me of it when you said signage or something like that. The Bryantville Park sign, the one when you come out of, it looks really bad. The one, like when you come out of Hometown Diner and come to Bryantville this way or whatever, and you go by the Bryantville Park sign. It was been talked about before, but nothing has been done about it. And it looks like terrible. The worst thing ever.
Okay.
Well, I don't know about worst thing ever, but not good. It's like all not even like together.
Okay. I will go take a closer look at it.
Okay, I think that it should be replaced ASAP. That's my recommendation.
Okay. So I want to make sure I provide that because based on, like I said, it came up last month and I wanted to make sure I got into an easy to read kind of format. And
The link you sent in the email last week, that's the full.
that's the full plan. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
So I guess so on the record, we're gonna have a subcommittee meet November 1st, 2 weeks from now, to discuss this offsite.
Yep.
And there's no more guests. Is that it? Someone want to make a motion to end?
Motion here.
Seconded by April.
Sure.
All right.